Good evening, everybody, and this is Noreen McClendon. I'm your host and facilitator for Free to Heal, where we are formerly incarcerated and loved ones, and we come together every week so we can heal from the wounds that were inflicted upon all of us through our involvement and proximity to mass incarceration. We have a heavy focus on making us better people, us being better people, as opposed to looking to somebody else to do it for us or whatever. So we're constantly trying to improve, learn about ourselves, learn coping skills and things that help us get through the day and help us be better. And so here we are today, and my topic today, I'm so excited. We'll go a little bit. My topic today is something that I discovered on well, let me say it this way. When I wrote my book, Hurt People Highway, I wrote a poem initially and in 2013. And toward the end of the poem, I talk about the difference between a strong Black man behind the walls through the gates of fear, panic, self-doubt to full-blown identity crisis. Because I understood that from other people that have been incarcerated, there's a group of folks and men in Watts, and all of them had done at least 24 years. And more than one of them had expressed that when it's time to get out after they've been gone for a long time, there's fear and trepidation in terms of actually leaving prison. And so I understood that concept. But I was watching, T.I. has a podcast called Expeditiously. And he had Wallow on. And Wallow, you have to look him up. He did 20 years. He's my homeboy from Philly. Him and Gilly. Gilly's a huge Eagles fan, crazy fool. Gilly was a rapper, I believe, too. But anyway, Wallow did 20 years. Wallow came home. He's been very successful in media. He was kind of Instagram guy, and all of that. And now they have this podcast and so on and so forth. So anyway, he's telling T.I., I guess at one point he had indicated that he was terrified to leave prison the day that he had to leave prison. And the reason he explained was, and this is what I think is so amazing. He said he had never been the person that he had wanted to be in his life. In other words, he said he had made promises to his family. He told them he had changed. And now it was time to literally live that. So the concept, now I gotta actually be what I said I wanted to be. But I've never actually lived it. I've never lived that life. And I don't know if I can do it because I've never done it. Not because I don't want to, not because I've been lying or making people think something, but I just have never done it, huh?
Fear of the unknown.
Fear of the unknown. What we don't know, we fear.
I follow Willie and you.
And so it's like, but when he said it, I thought of so many instances in my own existence where I just haven't lived that before. I haven't done it, and I do have trepidation about it because I've never lived that before. I've never, like just something as simple as this. I can talk about being retired and living off of my retirement income, but I'm scared because I don't know because I ain't never lived off my retirement income.
And how do you do that?
And how do you like? Okay, you could say you want to do. You can even have a plan, and you could have put everything in place. But because you don't know and you've never done it, you're afraid of it.
I almost died. Retiring.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Yes.
Why? Why you say that?
the fear, even the fear of the known. And we can talk about the fear of the unknown, but the fear of the known, I knew what my budget was. I knew my expense, my debt ratio, all of those things. I had zero debt, but it sounds crazy, but I did not want this $3,000 check. What was I going to do with $3,000 when I made six figures? And even though I had no debt, and how long was it going to take me
To
to
adjust.
reach my pension? Because it would have allotted me more money, even though I didn't need it. Yeah,
Thought you was gonna lose it.
I call my financial advisor every week.
Am I okay? As
Yeah,
checking
am I
in.
doing the right thing?
Am I okay?
And
Am
he
I all
laughed-
right?
And he laughed at me every week.
Every week. But think about this. Think about, we talk often about trauma. And people who have, this is how people let their trauma become their identity.
Yep.
So I have been through this trauma. I have walked through it. I know how to function having been traumatized in this way. I know how to carry that. I know how to that cross, I've been carrying that, I've been lugging that around for decades. But now, how do I a lot of people don't want to let it go because they don't know what it's like. I did hear somebody once say, talk about dysfunction in families, that people who grew up in very dysfunctional families learn to function in dysfunction. And I remember my son dating a lady who her threshold for good and easy and getting along and everything is good was 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, she had to start a fight about something because she didn't know how to function in this good. It terrified her. And she would start an argument because that place she knew how to operate from. So what I'm thinking is, and this is why I was so excited to talk about it, is it applies to so many things because courage is not the absence of fear. It is moving forward regardless of the fear or in spite of the fear. So what we have to do, no matter what those things are, whatever we're afraid of, and the guys, and think about it, coming through those gates, we've already talked about it before, that there are a couple of stops you got to make before they actually let you out. You got to clear this one, then you got to clear the next one. Okay, you might have as many as 3 different gates you got to clear before you can actually go home and get out. No matter what, they were afraid, but they went through each one of those gates. They just kept going. Why? Because who would just stand there and say, oh no, I'm not going to leave? Nobody does that. Nobody said nobody ever. No, I'd rather stay here. It required them to dig deep and find the courage to move forward anyway. And that was a physical thing. That was about a physical location. This is what I want us to apply it to is all of the other things in our lives. What is it that we fear? And is it because it's the unknown, or what is that? And then how do we move forward beyond that? So I want you guys to talk to me about things that you had fear about, and whether you're a person who had to go through the gates or whether you were a person receiving the person coming through the gates. And so I can start and tell you this. As we've talked here multiple times, and I know that this was, it was a fear. It was a fear when he was coming home and when I was picking him up, which was getting through the gates and not having any issues. But the biggest fear that we've talked about, and I definitely had this one, was him going back. An additional separation. Because I didn't want him to go back to prison. That, to me, I would have rathered him go with another woman. Leave me for another woman would have been fine with me instead of giving the state more time. That, for me, I meant that to my core, and it still hurts my heart that he's back in prison because that was the thing I didn't want. But I do know that we have talked here and we have come to the consensus at Free to Heal that everybody's issue, we all have one issue in common, and that is the fear that the person who was incarcerated will go back to prison. So I want you guys to talk to me about some other fears that you may have had that this actually might apply to, where it's just you didn't understand, and the notion that, or any thoughts you have on the notion that I've never been that person before. I want to be this person, but I've never been that person before. So I'm afraid of it. Anybody?
Well, I was afraid when Dion went in because when he went in, he was 17.
Mm-hmm.
When he got out, he was what, 20, 23, 24, somewhere up in there. Now he's not the Dion I could say, hey, go in and get your stuff, get ready for school tomorrow. I can't dictate no orders now because this is not a child coming home. This is a young man coming home now. So I can't say, oh, you got to be here by, ain't no more of that. So now I got to let go of where are you? What you doing? Who you with? Why you over there? So now I'm okay. No, but I didn't, that part, couldn't understand how to let that part go. To let him just try to live his life without putting no expectation on me and him because he's been gone for 5 years. I was afraid of that because I'm an overprotective mom already, and that just made it worse.
You know, something you said made me think about this, right? Because in theory, that was true, right? He was a young man now. He was a young adult. But we talk about here how the development gets stunted. So yeah, technically he was that.
Yeah, but at first I didn't know none of that part.
Of course you didn't know any of that, right? You didn't have any idea. You're thinking, like you say, and rightfully so, that you gotta let him be a man and be a young man and make his choices and decisions, and you can't, like you say, go do this and go that. You can't do that. But I just think it's interesting that is actually, there is some part of that really wasn't true. Because literally he still was a child because his development, if nothing else through experience, his experiences got cut off. Let's not say that their development got stunted. Let's say the experiences got cut off.
Everything got cut off.
Right at that moment, the experiences stopped. So now I'm not learning what other people at my age are learning. I'm not having relationships with intimate partner relationships with nobody. I mean, we're not gonna talk about what going to prison, but I'm just talking about in general what society does. I'm not doing that. I'm not working a job where I get paid. Walla was also talking about how the highest paying job in the prison in Pennsylvania is 42 cents an hour. That's the highest paid one. And you got to work up to even be able to get to the 42 cents an hour job. And so you got to figure all that out. But again, their development, their understanding, their experiences never really progressed, even though their age and their bodies progressed.
Because he grew. He
Okay.
grew tremendously in there.
Yeah. And what about you, sweetie? Anything? And so we just we thinking about this as you get situated. So I was talking about how Wallow said that his fear when he was coming home was the fact that the person that he wanted to be, he had never been that person in his life. And now he has an unknown. He's going into an unknown existence that as much as he thinks he's planned for it, he thinks he's prepared for it,
It's uncharted territory.
uncharted territory. And so anyway, so I'm asking everybody, the question on the table is, are there things that you feared, not necessarily just about prison? Because I was explaining that I have had those experiences of things I just didn't understand. I know other people, and there's a fear, even in dysfunction, people who grow up in dysfunctional situations, they learn how to function there, and they're afraid to move past it. People who let their identity become their trauma. Their trauma becomes their whole identity and their whole focus. And so anyway, that's the just to catch you up so you can be thinking about it when I come to you for an answer.
All the time. Um, I think it becomes part of the tackling process, for me, because there's always a time. You don't know what tomorrow holds. I do have a loved one who, has been gone since he was 17, for going on 25 years. And I have, I will always have a concern of what he faces, in coming home. And so I have conversations, good ones, bad ones, spirited ones, just to see where he is in his thought process, as opposed to what's actually going on out here, because we see things differently because we're in different spaces. So, but I try to not let it consume our relationship. Thank you. But definitely because what his support system looks like. I often talk about your village, but the fact that your village always changes. Your village is an evolution. And what his village looked like when he went in at 17 is not what his village will look like when he comes home.
No.
Whenever he's allowed to come home. And so, again, I try not to obsess about it because you can plan for so much. And give God your best laid plans and he'll laugh at you.
Chuckle like a mug. Yeah, with his funny sense of humor. He will laugh at you. Go on and make some plans if you want to. Right? Go ahead. And the thing of it is too, especially with people coming through from incarceration, there are so many some minefield of setbacks. Yeah. Like, and parole and probation are not designed to assist you to get through that. We talked last week about the business that the institutions are in. The institutions are in the business of housing and counting people. They get paid, they make their money on fees, which is why they do that 3 times a day, because that's where they make their money. And they focus on that makes them their money. So your preparation for reentry is not where they make their money. They could care less about your rehabilitation. It is in the name, in particular in California, because we fought to make them put it back. But it's not in their game plan. Yes, ma'am.
When I was first got to Dublin, the mission was rehabilitation, and shortly thereafter, the mission was to protect the community from us. And when I went to Wasika, the man had been there for 17 and a half years. 17 years. They put the men out because they were running out of space for the females. And they put us in, but they classified it as a new institution so they can get the funding. They sent all of us. When I got there, I was number 247. When I left, it was 1,400 women there. And I was there 2 years. When I got there, they made
Wait, whoa.
That's what you said.
You said you was number 247.
I was number 247.
And when you left, it was happening?
1,400 and like 27 women.
So 1,100 women.
They brought them in
In
from
2 years.
They brought them in from other institutions, from Tallahassee, Florida, from Dublin, California, from Carswell, because I was in Carswell at the time. They brought them from that prison in West Virginia, and it's not Alderson, it's the prison. And I can't think of the name, but they brought them from every prison. But what they did, they sent us. We would see like $25 on our account. They were making us go to drug class. They were sending us so they can get the money for it.
Wow.
They were getting the money. And
Yeah.
the new institution thing, they classified as a new institution so they can get paid for the new institution stuff. And it was just an old institution, they just changed the people. Because you kept the same rules. The men had been child molesters there. They couldn't hold their kids in their lap. So the women couldn't hold their kids in their laps. And my friend said, sure, write it up. I said, I had to write it up under your name because I don't have no kids.
Wow. And the issue becomes, it's about, again, how they make their money.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as much as you may have worked very hard on yourself, done a lot of self-help groups, tried to unpack your trauma and all this kind of stuff and do your healing, got you a GED, got you some degrees, whatever you did, you still have never lived the life of the person you want to be after incarceration. You have never been that person. You have never lived that life. And with Wallow, Wallow said he had been going in and out of jail since he was like 11 years old. He had been in and out of trouble forever. So by the time he gets to this point, he literally has never lived a life free of crime. And he feels like he's ready, but that don't have nothing to do with the fact that I haven't actually done this before. I can sit here and talk to you all day and promise you a whole bunch of stuff. And I believe it when I say it. But am I really capable of doing that? I don't know. So there's fear. Let me ask you, Vivian, any comments from you, sweetie?
I'm enjoying listening. I am really
Huh?
enjoying it.
Join
I
me.
am enjoying listening.
Awesome. Thank you. How about you, Miss Monica? Monica? Maybe she stepped away. B, how about you?
One, I love the idea or the topic. I think I struggle. I struggle with two things, right? It's almost like I have split personality disorder. Like when I was I feel like I have been the person once before. And so I felt like there was a challenge where I'm not sure if you guys ever saw the movie Juice back in the day, but I actually questioned to myself whether I still had the juice anymore in terms of did I lose it in the process? And I had a fear of when I get out, whether I will be able to have the same energy or gifts that God gave me once upon a time. But then beyond that, I did say to myself, the part that I've always lived in a bit of a gray. And I told myself when I get out, I am no longer going to live in a gray. It's either black or white. It's either all in or all out. And I do think that was part of the world where I did have fear. And when I first got out, I really had to wrestle with, particularly with some very challenging people at work. But, where we would have conversation about like, hey, it is what it is. Let's keep it black and white and let's stay the course, right? And I'm not, those people will go unnamed because, out of fear of violence, or threats or, sabotage or something. But anyway, but I do think those people helped me along the journey in terms of just saying, hey, let's keep the main thing the main thing. Let's take it easy. Let's not move too fast and let's focus on what we have to focus on. And so I do think, I even got a text message from a number I didn't know today, right? I just signed up for Telegram and somebody said, hey, we were locked up together. I would love to do business with you one day. And I immediately blocked that number. Because if you won't tell me who you are and you're speaking so indiscreetly,
Yeah.
we don't have much to talk about because I need to live in a black and white because it's too much on the line at this point. And so I do think this is a part of my world that I have never lived in, which is just a black and white. And
Particularly, I think it's probably particularly important for you because you had a conspiracy charge.
Yep.
Right?
Mhm.
And conspiracy can be anything.
Mm.
It can literally be anything. And because they have decided that the co-conspirators don't have to know that they're part of the conspiracy, that just means if you mess with my camera one more time, Miss Tony, with that person, I promise you won't fall out. Because of all the space here today, Tony. Excuse me, y'all. I'm fighting the cold. So anyway, but it's like now she made me give
the conspiracy.
right. Conspiracy, right? You don't have to know all of what's going on to be convicted of being part of a conspiracy. You just had to have done something. And they designed it to be a catch-all. That's what it was designed for, like RICO. Right? It's designed to catch up as many people as possible in this conspiracy to put as many people in prison. Why? Because the business is bodies.
Yep. And that was my initial charge, which was a RICO charge.
Okay.
And then you plead out whatever, but you plead out.
Right.
But at the end of the day, there was fear to no longer live in that gray, and I have no interest in.
Wonderful. Did you have something you was gonna say? Okay.
No, I was on the conspiracy part. If you want me to
Yes.
explain how easy it is, I can. You and
Please.
I have been friends since elementary. I stay in town and marry my high school sweetheart. You go away to the big city. You come back for the 10-year reunion. Me and you haven't talked. You say, sure, then we gonna catch up. Girl, I can't wait. We talking on the phone. You get there and I say, Noreen, look, I gotta run to my friend house. I'll be back about 15 minutes. You're like, girl, I'm riding the car. We can talk. And so you go and I say, I'm gonna be in the house maybe 10 minutes. You say, you're not leaving me in this hot car. You put take me in. So you come in. I say, Roberta, this is my friend Noreen. We've been friends for a long time. Me and Roberta go in the back and do business. We come out. Roberta get busted. Roberta tells him, sure, Ward is in this too. And while I'm in jail, they tell me you sleeping with my husband. And I tell them Noreen McClendon was there also, and you get 10 years.
Yeah.
Because
Just
she
like
was
that.
sitting in the house just like that.
Just like that. Literally. Didn't have nothing to do with nothing.
That's the feds.
Had no idea about any of it. Yet I'm doing 10 years
Mhm.
because I was in a position with you. And as much as they like to say you have to have done something or done an act, no, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe they stick to that. It's like when they implemented got 3 strikes to pass. They said it would be for violent offenses.
Mhm.
violent offenses only.
Yeah, I was a lie.
And it was a lie. And we have determined that that's not true.
That's not true.
That's not true. That's not true.
The man did life for pizza.
Okay, that slice of pizza.
Exactly, for a slice of pizza. So we know that, so they may write the law in such a way that that's what it would have you to believe. But the reality is, no, it's not that. It could be anything just by being, and especially if a co-conspirator names you as being involved.
That's all you needed
And
to
all you
know.
had to do was, Noreen, were you in the house that night?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's it.
yeah. Did you go on the night of? Did you go with to?
No,
Yeah.
I was just there. I didn't do nothing. No, you
Yeah,
lying.
I
They
did
gonna
know
tell
that.
you lying.
Oh, of course you're lying. Well, you know, the only people that tell the truth is
Miss Norrie,
yes.
please excuse interruption. Yes, this is Jose Garcia Hernandez, Carlos Hernandez roommate. I'm just very thankful to hear you guys sharing your information. I learned from you guys, and I just want to tell you, Ms. Norris, and everybody else, to please, for your sakes, like in my case, for my sake, we have to please. We must all stay strong, spiritually speaking, so that we can. It's the only way that we will be able to do what is right and come up in life. So I'm very thankful for being in, for listening to all of you guys. And I just want to share with you guys, with you, Ms. Norris, and with everybody else, that we must remain strong spiritually because it's the only way that we will be able to say no to negative temptations and to do what is right. Thank you for listening, and you all have a nice day, Ms. Norris.
Wait, before you go, Jose, I want to ask you this. You were gone 31, you said?
31 years, ma'am. Yes.
When it was time for you to come home, were you afraid?
Not really. Well, I was very aware of the temptations of the world, and there's more temptations here out here than back inside. Everything here is there. Everybody can reach to whatever they want to reach, even if it's illegal. But that's why we have to be smart, spiritually speaking, and think about the consequences before we mess up. Because if we mess up one more time, especially if we was lifers, the guys that was lifers, they might not be able. We might not be able to come out again if we do not think about the consequences before doing anything wrong.
Absolutely. And it's one of the reasons, Jose, that we come together every week because we're encouraging each other and trying to make sure that we all remember those things and that we get tools from Free to Heal to help us be able to cope with those challenges that come so that people don't revert back to those things that got them in trouble in the first place. And one of the things is that knowledge is key. Knowledge, if you know, then you know. Okay. And that's important. You got to know that you can't, that that you'll suffer consequences if your behavior is not correct. You got to know that. And that way you can practice it. So grateful to have you chime in, and I'm glad that you spoke up because oftentimes people think when we're talking that you can't just chime in. I want you guys to chime in. I want you guys to ask questions. I always enjoy it more when you guys talk because I learn a lot from you all. And I also find that I'm actually most helpful in a conversation.
Thank you very much for being so helpful. Thank you.
Absolutely. Good to
You
have you
you
with
all
us,
have
sweetie.
Yes, Ms. Norris, you and everybody else have a nice day. And please, we must always think about the consequences because I know how it is. I've been out here 2 months and I've been having serious trials. But it's up to us. It takes two persons to mess up. Real bad. Two persons. We cannot be the
Yes.
second person messing up. Real bad. We have to use our brain and think spiritually speaking. That is the only way that we'll be able to be strong to prevent serious incidents from escalating, problems from escalating. Thank you so much for
Well,
listening. Have a
all
very nice day,
righty.
everybody. Thank you.
Absolutely, sweetie.
Thank you.
one of the things is that when he talks about spirituality, right? Spiritually, where spirituality I think comes in is that it gives you something greater than yourself to look to, when what you already know or what you're comfortable with doesn't work, right? When that doesn't seem to apply, you need a higher power to go through to get you through that moment to prevent you from doing the wrong thing. So I don't have a fear of me going to jail, even though I spent those 12 hours, right? But I did learn that I had to be very careful of everything that I did because it could lead me there. And there have one of the biggest examples was when a tenant came in and she talked with her hands and she popped me in my chest, y'all.
Where's her headstone?
That was the thing. Well, you look just like your mom now. But that was literally, but this was the issue. I was only a year in because they told me for the next 3 years, if I got involved in anything, they would bring that charge back. So I'm a year in. And and when I tell you I wanted to see her headstone, I did. I was visualizing all of what I was intended to do to her in that moment. Like it was going real, real fast. But guess what happened? Right after that, Roberta, guess who started passing before my face? Betty and Shanae and all the people in CIW. Okay. They their faces start passing before me. And it was like, you can't help them being an inmate. So all I could do was like this. I keep my hands at my side and I couldn't move. My coworker jumped up from behind her desk and started pushing the lady out the office. But I was frozen because I wanted to see her tombstone. I wanted to see the headstone. I felt like she deserved it. She put her hands on me. And then listen, this is me and my spiritual walk, right? I'm like, now Yahweh, you know how you made me, dude. You know.
This ain't right. That's all I keep saying. This ain't right.
You know that that's my red line. You could talk shit to me from now. I don't care. Whatever. I might get mad, but I could suffer that. But when you touch me, I need to touch you back. And make sure you don't touch me again. And I was prohibited from doing that. But let me tell you the punchline though. He said to me, and mind you, for 4 hours, I was fuming. Like I'm sitting at my desk, I'm trying to work, but everything in me is angry. You telling me to serve your people, because I'm thinking about Betty and them, right? To serve your people, I gotta let somebody put their hands on me? What? Oh no, you know you didn't make me like that. How you expect me to do that?
That's about right.
After a few hours, what I hear is, how many times have I told you to let me defend you? And he had been saying it for years, y'all. He had been telling me that. In fact, when I got arrested, he let me know I got arrested defending the property. That's what I got arrested for. And he was like, how many times have I told you to let me defend you? So it is when I had to learn the hardest thing in the world to do, and that was to do nothing. To this day, doing nothing is harder than any of the work I've ever had to do. And I've always been overworked and underpaid. And so, but that, to do nothing?
But you did something.
On me.
You did something. You kept yourself out of trouble. That's right.
Yes, ma'am. But, and of course, that now we can, in hindsight, I can feel that, right? But in the moment,
That didn't feel like nothing,
Yeah,
did it?
it felt like that for you, but instinctively you understood the outcome of that. Because they talk to you a certain way and you want to retaliate, but you don't because you know what's gonna happen. If you talk back, if you do something back, you know what's gonna happen.
If I move, I am going
Mhm.
to prison.
Mm-hmm.
If I move, I cannot fucking move. Do not move. Don't breathe. I'm like this, holding my breath and everything, because I'm scared to death that if I move, it's gonna be bad.
You was going though.
I was going. Oh, I was definitely going.
Yeah.
And again, talk about fear, right? Diane, you and I talked about this recently, like the fear more of me than of you.
Yeah.
Because I know the ignorant person in here. I've met her.
Yeah.
I don't like her.
What you looking at me for?
I don't like her. Oops. Okay. So anywho.
But I do think to that point, on Friday when I got my ankle monitor off. Something we made it. My comrade had already left and went to Vegas, and I'm not gonna name names, but my partner in crime, she left me alone. And I thought about what I was gonna do to celebrate, and so I thought, man, it's legal now. I can go to the strip club or something because it's legal. Like, I don't have to drink. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna break the law. But then I thought, because I mean, my partner in crime was already kicking it hard in Vegas. And so I was like, hey, I deserve to party too. But all joking aside, I heard the same voices
Your
say,
partner in crime was a crime in Vegas. Did they?
yeah, I mean, I heard.
Let me just tell you what I know
me out there.
All I know
about
is,
what all had happened.
Mary J. Blige texted me and said, some people out in the audience. But anyway, but
Yeah. See.
oh, real love. She was searching for a real love.
Oh,
Yeah. So
But I
y'all can
decided-
see too.
Geez,
That was his partner in crime. She went to see Mary J. Blige and all the photos and stuff out.
acting a fool.
Acting a fool in Vegas.
Roberta said my outfit was cute.
It was very cute. It wasn't the issue.
Yeah, that's a little.
It was just
way
dangerous.
doing too much. But anyway,
Okay.
we're gonna talk about it another time. But all joking aside, though, I did think to myself, like, I did want to celebrate, but the person that I am now, I don't need that to celebrate anymore. And so instead, I chose to go to the movies.
Okay.
I went to the
Which
movies.
sounded all sedate, huh?
Yeah, it sounded super lame. I told my friends, they were like, "What did you go and do? What'd you do to celebrate?" I said, "I went to go see Mortal Kombat."
No, that's hilarious.
And
that is so hilarious.
Kept it simple. And they were like, "What?" I was like, "Yes, I don't care what you say about me."
But you have to revel in the maturity and the decision.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yeah.
Why does it sound lame? Maybe the 20
To them.
maybe
Yeah.
the 20-year-old you,
Yep.
it would be lame. However, I often tell the story of when I was in college, I was going to UCLA and I was working at Westside Pavilion in the May Company, and I was in the old lady section putting those shirts back up on that rack every day when they came in and tried them on. And I was like, Kay Scott, whatever her damn name was the bane of my existence. I love them shirts today. It's just the maturity in the decision.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, the 20-something him probably would have responded totally different.
I
Than this.
think that was lame, but it is in the moment of it. And you have to revel in the fact that you got to go to the movies and you got to come back home.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't start a slippery slope.
Right.
Right. Because that
Just
matters.
because you had the opportunity, because there is responsibility in freedom.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
No.
Right.
But I want to know, have the 3 years passed?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just asking.
They passed. They did.
Okay.
I survived.
Okay.
I did. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But that particular day was the biggest test.
What?
And
Of course.
smart ass. And what I will say to that is, oh, you didn't think I caught that? I caught that. I caught the whole thing, the whole draft. I caught all of it. I didn't miss none of that, Miss Tony. Thank you. That
Oh, no.
they oh no, you must stay. No, it's too late now. It's too late.
Where you
Yeah,
going
my
now?
mistake.
The energy in this room is really bad. I do not think there was a blessing before we started the session.
Relax yourself.
So what, but that day was the day, which is what made me bring it up, is that spirituality had to kick in and had to take over to teach me and for me to actually get what he had been trying to show me for a long time. And I kept defending myself. And his thing was,
That's your job.
that's not your job, guys.
That's your job. That's your problem. That's not your job.
See, you over in my lane. If you would get out of my business, handle the business I tell you to handle, you can handle your business. And I got the rest of this. I didn't ask you not no morning that I wake you up and say, hey, can you do me a favor? I'm gonna need you to take it.
That's what I thought he was saying sometime to me. Like, go ahead, Dad. Like, all right.
And that is the end of my conversation with you yesterday.
You know what? All right.
We don't know what that's about. And those, we're gonna all stay over here in our lane. We're gonna stay in our lane.
It still applies.
We're gonna stay in our lane.
And then I had to say this too about fear. When Dion did come home, right? I still have that bad anxiety. Even just somebody tell me, just even to mail a letter to jail, my hands just shake. It burns me up. But I would be like, okay, now what I'm gonna do this weekend? Okay, I can't go visit. Oh, he's here. You go back and forth like, oh, he home. Oh, we ain't gotta go there this weekend. Oh, okay, you know what? You putting this money to the side, so you know how I do. I'm putting the money away, still thinking, okay, I gotta go on this road trip. I pay for the room. But he here died. So it takes a minute to get that. And I would get up like periodically, go look in the room at him sleeping. But you know, by him being locked up like that, he would wake up every time I open the door, like, what's wrong? I was like, I'm just checking on you, make sure you're good. He's like, Mom, just go to bed. But I have to be sure, like, cause that anxiety kicks in, like he really here. I ain't gotta go no more. But you still had the biggest part, like I said, the biggest fear was, man, he gonna go back, he gonna do something fucking stupid.
And one of the things that you talked to me about, I thought that was so important was, as a mother, the reality that once they are in the hands of the system, you have no control over anything.
None whatsoever.
There's nothing you can do to help them. There's nothing you can do.
No, ma'am.
There's nothing. Only thing you could do is try to be there to, be a support system.
That's all you are.
You know what I'm saying? But you have no control over anything.
No.
You can't fix their problems at that point. You can't keep them from experiencing additional problems. You can't do any of those things. The only thing you can do at that point is pray. And like I say, do whatever support things you can do, whether that's put money in their books, go visit or whatever. But
because you become everything in one person. You become the emotional support. You become the emotional punching bag. You become the person that it's your fault some kind of way. But you should have said this in court. Everything is your fault. Like the fuck I'm supposed to tell the bitch?
I didn't do nothing.
Then what I'm supposed to tell the bitch?
And I wasn't there the day you did that. And you didn't ask me. You didn't ask me before you left the house that day. What we gonna do if I go do this and this happens?
So come on.
Nobody said nobody ever. First of all, I think about the fact that, and I always teach this, that when particularly it always would come up with parents that are incarcerated. And it's like when the kids say what they say and they hurt your feelings, that emotional punching bag shit, when they hurt your feelings, I always try to say to the people that have been incarcerated and I'm teaching, recognize this. You did not wake up. I don't know of anybody that woke up in the morning and said, I'm going to go hit this lick so I can ruin my kid's life. Said nobody ever. If anything, they was going to hit the lick so they could have whatever they thought the kids needed or wanted. right? That, if anything, is actually quite the opposite.
Make a better life.
Make a quote unquote make a better life, not recognizing that that is not actually going to be what happens, right? So this concept that I'm gonna go do something that I know is gonna harm you never happened with parents. Just don't do that. I mean, you got to be a real monster, and it's not that there ain't some monsters in the world, but understand that for the most part, people do not commit crimes with the intention to harm their families. That is not what happens. They want it. It is an unintended consequence.
Unless they kill their family.
Well, right. Well, yeah. Then there's that, right? There's always
But you have
the
to learn-
Rod Reiner situation
But you
where
have
the
to
children
don't
kill
take
the
it personal.
parents or the Melendez brothers, but they are the exceptions to the rule, right?
Yeah.
They're the exceptions to the rule.
Yeah.
You know,
because they're white.
And so I am again, but I want to make sure that we are not, I don't want it to stay in the realm of prison and leaving prison, because there are so many instances in life where, because we don't know what to expect, we have fear. We fear what we don't know. And the reality is, this is a good way to understand I gotta do what I gotta do anyway, despite the fear. That's what courage is. Moving despite being afraid. Yes, ma'am.
I'm feeling you getting abused back here.
I thought I could see that out the side of my eye.
So
Okay.
Go
Cheryl,
on and say what you was gonna say then.
I thought this was supposed to be a place of non-violence. That's what I thought. I don't know if I got it wrong, but
No,
We don't encourage violence. Let's be clear for the audience.
don't encourage it.
We do.
but I got popped twice
We do not encourage violence here.
with a
Just-
box.
So whatever
pizza
was
box.
going on there. too.
Uh-huh.
But amount of violence is permitted. It's not.
With a chair.
How you were-
No, it's not permitted.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm not permitting you.
I thought this was the work area.
Excuse me?
Nothing.
Okay, let me see.
Is she chuckling back there too?
Audience is showing up.
Let me just say this.
Okay.
Noreen doesn't condone violence.
And neither the Cheryl Ward.
And neither does Cheryl Ward nor Roberta Brooks, okay? We not condoning no violence. Let me just say that, so y'all know. But these crazy people, I mean, the peanut gallery, they're a little special. Y'all do remember that. For those of y'all that may not listen, they special. They certainly special. So, y'all don't, can y'all just pray for me? How about we deal with that? Just pray for me to survive. Somebody just pray for me. Here, okay? That's what I need. Okay?
Mm.
But I am so I'm so grateful to be able to share these kinds of things with everybody, because these are, again, things that we're trying to be better people.
Mhm.
And understanding that just because we're afraid of something and we're afraid to let go of our past, whether it's traumas or whatever, just because we're afraid is not a reason enough not to move forward.
Correct.
That is not a sufficient reason not to move forward. Your fear, you can use it as fuel and motivation. Sometimes it's good to be afraid of some stuff, because some of that stuff we think to do may not be such a good thing to do. Like the day that lady popped her hand at me, what I felt to do was not a good thing to do.
Lori, can I ask you a question? So what happens speaking to the fear component, what would you recommend if when a person gets out, they struggle or they face roadblocks? What would you recommend for that?
So it's going to depend, right? That's like a wide range of different things. It depends on what the
The challenge.
issue is and what the challenge is. So, for example, parole, probation, those challenges, you just got to go with the flow. You got to change your mindset about those things.
I'm sorry, I'll be more specific. Maybe to your point, the system is the system. So remove that from the equation.
Okay.
But with your closest friends and inner circle seeing you one way and not seeing you for the person that you want to be and the person that you want to become, how would you face that challenge?
That is none of your business. Your function, your job at that point is to show rather than tell. In addition to, and the reason that's so important is because you cannot control what they think. You cannot control their opinions. And trying to function from there or to affect that is taking precious energy away from what you really need to be focusing on, which is getting through whatever it is and getting yourself situated. So oftentimes people are concerned about what family members, the people, right?
They're consumed.
Consumed by what people
Concerned.
think. Yes, ma'am. Consumed. Yes, ma'am. By what other people think of them in that moment, particularly coming home from incarceration, because there's shame. For a lot of people, there's a level of shame that I was incarcerated. Even if you don't think there is, it subconsciously. And how do you know it? It's not the first thing you say. Yeah, my name is B, and I just came home from prison. That is not a conversation that you. Okay, that's not what you do, right? For the most part,
They had to tell me to stop.
right?
Or a
But
stigma of the person you used to be.
that, which is what I think you're talking about too, right? Is the stigma for who you used to be, and not seeing you in the light of the person that you have become, the part that you have shed, because you're going to shed some things in prison, if nothing else, just by the passage of time. So, but you cannot control what they think. You can't control their opinion of you. The best thing you can do is keep doing what you said you was going to do. Stay on your road. Stay on your path. Spend your energy being who you want to be versus worrying about who they think you are. The infamous they.
Mhm.
Can I collectively for everybody say fuck they?
Fuck they.
And they,
Fuck them.
they,
they.
them, and
Whoever
those.
they is, fuck them. Nobody cares about them. Because they not paying your bills.
Mhm.
They not doing your time. They not going to the parole office for you. They not doing none of that.
They are not caring for you.
They are not caring for you. So what their opinion is just doesn't matter. And you do have to think that way. You got to compartmentalize it. Think about it like this. You have to ask yourself, can I control what they think? It's a simple, can I control it or not?
Mhm.
If you can control it, do something about it. If you can't, you gotta leave it alone. You gotta leave that for somebody else. And I say that's very important for people coming home from incarceration. And that is the principle of recognizing that you can only control what you can control. And everything else, you gotta let it go. Because everybody has a finite amount of energy.
Yep.
You only have, I like to use this as an example, and you might be able to see it if I do it like this. Only what's inside of here is what I can handle. Anything, my arms don't reach no further than that. This is all I got right here. Whatever's in here, I can do something about that. Whatever's out, can't do nothing about it. And so guess what I got to do with what's out there? I got to leave it out there and leave it alone. Obviously, if he wanted me to do something about it, he'd have put it close enough for me to reach it, close enough for me to use my tools to affect it. Another person's opinion of you is definitely outside your circle. It's out your capacity, right? Because you can't. And as this new saying goes, that's none of your business. Anyway, because there's You know how there's only so many hours in a day? There's only so much energy you have for those hours in a day anyway. And so you gotta be wise about where you spend your energy.
Right.
What do you expend energy on? You know, Di, there's something you said too about being their emotional punching bag, the emotional support. I don't want to be anybody's crisis response team ever again.
You all that in one.
I don't want to do that.
Amen.
Huh?
Amen.
You know? I don't.
I resigned.
You did. They let you? But no, they didn't have a choice, huh?
Hmm.
Huh. Yeah, you just gave up your crown and just said, here, y'all can have it.
I resigned.
Turned it back in. Yeah, it's okay.
I will again, like you said, do what is good in my wheelhouse. It doesn't change. It doesn't mean that I'm not a good person. Having the conversation, eons ago with my grandmother when I, haphazardly said to her from a safe distance that I was more like Malcolm and she was more like Martin. But actually understanding that, I said it as a teenager, but understanding that as a young adult and even getting older where rules had to be laid, even within my family about what I will do, what I won't do, and the capacity that I built for myself, because their capacity for me was
Endless.
yeah, it was endless.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So-
Whenever I call.
You are your own agent.
Yeah.
If I come and I say, well, hey B, yeah, you're gonna get what you got cracking again. It's your responsibility to explain to me, no, here's where I am today, and I can either take it or leave it.
Yeah.
It's not for you to convince me. It's just for you to tell me. And
No.
as Noreen said, then you follow up with whatever it is, because nothing's better than that change. That change tells you, what you are, and then when it tells you, it tells everyone else. But that you're the agent. If you have that precarious conversation, if someone comes with that, it's a simple, and I say simple, but it's a simple no.
Yeah.
But here's where I am, and here's what I'm doing here. Hey, I gotta recoup. I'm doing this. I'm doing that, and they will show you their interest. They're gauging. I mean, because on a different plane, I too have had those conversations. Having a conversation with one of my cousins about going to save another cousin, and I was like, yeah, no, and I'm not going. That person needs to go to therapy. Well, they're in therapy. Well, who the fuck do you think I am? There's no D, no M, no P, no H, any of those things behind me, right? So setting your standards, setting your boundaries
Yes.
for what your life looks like moving forward is your biggest responsibility, and following through is the second.
So what I took away from it was exactly like what you both just said, which was stick to your plan.
Yeah.
Control what you can control. Tell people, you can show people, but whether they choose to believe it or not is up to them, because it's outside of your control. But
Absolutely.
have the fortitude to continue to work your plan one way or the other, and whether they join you or they're for the long term or not, they have to fall in love with a new person because the old person's gone.
Or not.
Or not.
Yeah.
Or not.
They don't
And
have
it's
to.
okay either way.
You have
It's
to.
okay
You
either
have
way.
to. Yeah, you have to be. You have to learn how to be okay
With the or not.
Without.
Exactly. It's something you were saying. I was thinking about when you were talking. It's the wisdom that comes with knowing your capacity,
Yes.
and the wisdom to use your capacity for what takes you closer to where you want to be, the kind of life you want to have, versus the life everybody else wants to have.
Yeah.
Or
Or
what they think of you.
how people see you. You know, it's very interesting if you could have some truthful conversations with people about how they see you.
Ooh-wee.
You know, I am the oldest of 26 grandchildren, and I can remember when, you know, I leased a BMW, and my cousin said, "Oh, I didn't know you had that kind of money."
Wow. Wow. And you have work. Okay. Another thing you said too that you mentioned keep being the change, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the best apology is
Mhm.
changed behavior,
Mm-hmm.
right? Stop doing whatever it is you was doing. If we could just get you to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times people want to continue to do the same thing and they want you to forgive them for things that they're still doing. It's like, excuse me, racism in America is still going on. How are we gonna get over it and it's still happening?
Still happening.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know what y'all expect
Right.
because it's still going on today as we speak.
Mhm.
You know, so I am I'm grateful that I get to come together with you guys every week. Even when you guys are threatening violence against each other and I may have to mediate. Anyway, I still enjoy being with you guys. I learned so much from you all the time. And the other thing for me that this does is it keeps the principles. It keeps the principles fresh in my mind.
Mhm.
When a particular circumstance comes up or I'm faced with something, it's going to make me say, can you control it or not?
Mhm.
It ain't your business what they think.
Mhm.
All you can do is do this. Change behavior, Noreen, is the apology. Like these things, because we talk about them all the time
Mhm.
and we talk about what's my responsibility, what all of those things, it keeps it fresh in my mind and it keeps me in my daily life walking this walk to be who I really want to be and not feel the obligation to be who other people expect me to be. And I think that is a big challenge for people coming home.
Yeah.
Is that when you were away, when you come back, first of all, there are going to be two kinds of people, two general categories. Those that want you to be nothing like the person that went in,
Are the same.
and those that want you to be exactly who that person was that went in. And neither one of those people are coming out of prison.
Mhm.
It's not going to happen. You will always be some part of you. Your core person didn't disappear, whoever that is. The person that went into prison is changed. That person, even if nothing more than the passage of time and the aging process. Pike is not here today, but Pike went in 38 years earlier and been in and out. But if nothing else, Pike is an old man now, right? So he's different. Whatever his whatever he was when he was going to the bars and the barmaids, he's not that person anymore. Just by the passage of time. And the fact that his body, like everybody else's body, gave out in different areas. So that concept of people trying to live up to those expectations is very dangerous because that may just be one person, but you got multiple people that have been in your life that have expectations. It's people that are associated with you for a variety of different things.
And you may not even know it. Case in point, that same cousin confided in me to say that she's been watching my every move.
Oh,
And today understands that you don't have to wear it all on your sleeve, and was faced with uh, a judgment of, so you go to the food bank? And she said, yeah, I go to the food bank. Oh, I didn't know you went to the food bank. And she was like, well, it's free food and I'm on a budget. Oh, I didn't know you were on a budget. And I said, well, doesn't that sound kind of like what you said to me? And we laughed about it. people are always going to be judging you.
Yeah.
And the incarceration effect is another set of layers, because it's not just one, it's a set of layers. So there's judgment. You don't even know that people are judging you, because I was kind of taken aback by the comment about, I didn't know that you could afford that. And I was like, well, what do you think I've been doing working all this time? I'm just working for free. And because all of those behind me were all driving, luxury cars with designer stuff, because I didn't have it, you thought that I couldn't afford it. It was like I didn't need it. I didn't want it. When I wanted it, I did it. And I moved on from it. But it's not something that I do for you. It's something that I do for myself. And so
That's the
now
first thing, right?
she's living in that. And she's like, yeah, I did it. Yeah. So what? And she said, and they were like flabbergasted and shocked. And she was like, so you want me to help you pick up your lip, or, what do you want me to do with it? And we laughed about it, because she's like, yeah, if I go, she says, my thing is I go, and if they got something that I want, I get. If they don't, I don't. But yeah, I go because I can. It doesn't matter that, how I'm living or what I'm doing, but you just don't know who's judging you, what they're saying behind closed doors, what they're even thinking in those terms, but it doesn't matter.
So, Tony, you said you don't know who's judging you.
No,
You don't know what they're thinking.
no.
And you said something else, right?
I said, and it doesn't matter.
So now, just think about all of the energy you would expend trying to get the answers to those questions
Yes,
about everybody.
about everybody.
The people that you run into when you're picking up your pizza. Okay. You know how much energy you're pulling away from what you need to be doing? It may not seem like a lot when it's just the person at the pizza place. But when you start adding it up, it starts to add up pretty quickly. And you have expended a lot of energy that's not useful for you. And you can't fix any of it. That's the real tragedy. You cannot change how they think about you. I don't care. A person who has decided that you haven't changed, or a person that decided that you have changed, you can't do anything about it one way or the other.
Yeah, I think an analogy I used this weekend was I was trying to explain to someone that sometimes people look at folks like we're a Netflix series. Like when you go away to prison, like if you like the Goodfellas, or if you like whatever show that you like watching, you can just pick it back up and you know where you left off, you know the theme, you know the plot, you know everything. But me as a Netflix series, I've changed a lot. And the story, the plot has twisted, the person is twisted, the characters have changed. And if you're expecting to pick back up where we left off, it's a whole nother series.
Yeah.
And I'm on a completely different
This is a
wave.
spinoff.
This is reality.
It's
not a
completely-
series. It's reality.
And so if you're expecting just to pick up, oh, it's been a couple of years, but let's get back. No, it's a whole nother series.
Yeah, because
And, I love
you've
that.
had to become somebody different. You've had to move different. You've had to learn different things that you never anticipated in your life having to learn, just to make it through an experience.
And they weren't, and those experiences weren't televised.
So
Right.
That's why the series will never match.
Yeah.
And so you're like, what happened to wait, where's this person?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was 3 years ago. That was 4 years ago. That was 5 years ago. That's so I do think one thing that I'll take away from tonight is I love your quote about, how did you put that? Change is a sincere apology.
Oh, an apology. The best apology is change behavior.
And I'll take it a step further, and I'm still going to quote you on it. Change is the only apology.
Thank you. Thank you. That's the only one. That's the only one anybody really wants.
Because
Because
the
look,
words
you
don't mean
can keep
nothing.
the words.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can keep the words. If I choose between the behavior and the words, you can have them and shut them. I don't even need to hear them. Because, and you know, a lot of people come to that after you have apologized for the same thing 5 times. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And you keep doing it. Well, after a while, the words, if anything, they make me angry. They certainly don't don't help me.
Have no merit.
And I don't want to hear them. They're going to frustrate me. They're going to make me angry because I don't want to hear that shit. Because I know that you're going to continue to, well, your behavior has shown me that you're going to continue to do the same thing.
Yep, I told Bert that the other day.
Well,
I find, like for me, it was everybody else had, life had moved on,
uh-huh.
and I was where I left life.
Mm-hmm.
So, and even my counselor one time said, "Oh, I'm scared that you're gonna come back when you get home." I said, "Miss Stocking, I left home in a certain manner where I tried to help everybody. I haven't done nothing wrong to my family at all. They're welcome. They're ready for me to come home. My mother, the other people, their lives have moved on. Because it took my sister 6 years to come see me in prison, and one of them 2 years to come see me when I came home, because their lives are not the same anymore. My life was just here I am, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And you were trying to restart a life.
That's when I said to my friend Olga, it doesn't appear as if they're that happy I'm home. And that's when she said, which is one of my things they quote me on, is when she said, Cheryl, when we go away, we're dead. When we come back, we're back alive, but we have to fit into their lives where we can. And then I told her that sometimes we don't fit in.
And that's the thing, right? And
that's true.
And that's true, because sometimes you don't fit in. And that's okay though. Be okay with the fact that sometimes you don't fit in. Be okay with the fact, because some people, you want them to move on without you.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
I don't want to fit back into something, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Plus the stuff y'all doing, yeah, might lead me back to that 6x9. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all, you know what I mean? Or worse yet, maybe not what you're doing, but the way you treat me. The way you treated me before I was gone. You don't get to treat me like that no more.
You ain't treating like that no more.
How about that?
That's all I'm saying. Cheryl made me think about something. I remember I was doing my parole plans with the counselor, and it was her that was going to determine what she wrote on that paper about if I'm high risk, high value, and she put that high risk. And when I came home, I didn't know Miss Fuentes had did it. I didn't know she had did it because we had long conversations and we told truth right there, and she still did it. And I remember having to go to parole office, and then they said, yo, this is what was put on there, and that's how they helped me. So, long story short, Fuentes see Miss Flores. She another officer that was from Compton, so I knew her, and she asked about me. And Flores gave her this whole, but she's been over here, she doing this, that, and she said, "Oh, I feel so bad because you know what I did to her." And she said, yeah. And you thought she wasn't changing, and she had changed.
But how can she know you're changing if they don't deal? For me, when people do that kind of stuff and say things about you, is she with Roberta the whole time? Roberta in prison seeing stuff. You go home, dear. You ain't with us 24 hours a day.
Right, but you
so
would judge me for my case. Is what you was doing.
That's what.
Right, because you're saying you're having long conversations with her. So the long conversations that you were having with her, the earth to earth,
She wasn't listening.
She wasn't listening. It was her telling the fuck.
She was listening. She was judging. She was judging.
Criminal. And if she did it once, I got in some trouble because we had a warehouse and the people with the trucks and stuff, and the people came in, and I had to go to probation in Compton to see her in that courthouse. I'm pregnant. I'm talking to her. The first thing, so you smoke? I said, You drink? No. You smoke weed? No. Oh, you don't smoke weed? You snort cocaine? I said, no. Oh, you don't? And every time I said no, she said, oh, you don't?
Mm-hmm.
And when I finished with the conversation, she said, you know what? I think you done lied to me about everything you said. And I think if given a chance, you're going to be right back doing the same thing you did. And I'm suggesting that you go to state prison for at least a year.
Mm-hmm.
Sure did.
The
And
power.
I left out of there crying. My friend Randy with me. I said, I'm giving the baby up for adoption because I'm never, if I go to jail and this and this and this, and my son daddy got me a private probation officer, which I had never heard of.
Me either.
And they did my report and it went to the judge and he followed exactly what that lady said is to give me community service.
Wow. And see, and they do get to make those kinds of calls,
Judge and jury.
judge and jury, right?
Too much power.
And
Yeah, I got about to say that too much.
and the tragedy is that there are actual lives on the other end of those decisions.
And they don't even care.
Not just the person that you think you see, but there's ripples of people that are affected
Right.
by that pebble.
Like the parole. What is it? The board.
Yeah,
Parole board.
yeah.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? There are, like, you guys come up with an idea. I actually got into a conversation on social media, and this guy was saying they were talking if there's a law in California that it was about resentencing juvenile offenders is but juvenile offenders that had LWOP. So
Say that again.
LWOP, they had life without
Oh,
parole.
okay.
Okay. So whatever I said made this man say, well, you clearly don't have any idea what it takes to get an LWOP sentence.
I don't.
I said, that's not true. I'm a contractor for the Department of Corrections. I teach in there. Yeah, I do know. Well, yeah, you just a contractor. You want to come in and teach them, and just because you want to teach them, you think and I was a CO, and and I said, listen, two things can be true at the same time. There is a universe between what you believe and what I believe. I believe that I have never been a person that believed that if you commit a crime, you shouldn't be punished. I've never been that person. However, I do believe, because he talked about how few people were actually going to qualify, I said, which is exactly why it should be implemented in a hurry. Why? Because if you're talking about people who, the issue was you had to have a murder had to be part of your conviction. Secondly, you had to have been under 18, not to 25. You had to have been under 18 when it happened. And my position was this. We already know that a 17-year-old is a child. And you're telling me that you should take away a person's life for the rest of their life. They should be judged only by the one thing they did as a teenager? I said, and before you answer that, think about who's the president of the United States right now. Before you answer me, muffle your mouth, which I didn't say. I didn't give him the motherfucker, but I surely was thinking it.
Oh, you gave it to him. You just didn't say
I
it.
didn't say it.
If the tone went there, you see.
Okay.
You didn't verbalize it.
I didn't verbalize it. So I'm saying, and I'm typing like, because before you answer that, listen, we got a 34 count convicted felon as the president of the United States. So he should not be judged by whatever it is.
After he was 18.
Right, after 18. He wasn't
Way after.
He wasn't a kid.
18 times 3.
And so we're saying what? That we should just write a person off that committed a crime as a teenager when we know that their minds know. The difference between me and you, and this is when he stopped responding to me, is when I said, you just don't believe, you believe that none of the people are redeemable. That's the difference between me and you.
Right.
Right.
So I've heard more than one officer say that they train when they're training, they say they're gonna lie to you. They're gonna always want you to do something wrong. And then so if you have that kind of perception of us, you always gonna see us like that for real.
And that's all you're gonna see. And that's what that lady did, Roberta.
Yep.
She, like you say, she looked at whatever the crime was, and it may not have been anything. It may even about the crime. It may have just been her total view of the people that come before her, and she just decided that you didn't deserve
I
chance.
couldn't believe I had been there all those years, and her as a CEO, then a counselor, and
She
like
evolved
all that time. Yeah, and all that time, I thought she seen because she come
You
from
thought she saw it
come-
before that,
she
beyond
come
that.
from that, you
from
know.
watching.
So I'm thinking, dang,
She
she
should have saw
seen me
your
growing.
growth.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, like even the fights I had a battery, and then I was here. I was,
Mhm.
and so yeah, I was really like it really saddened me because when I went to that parole office, I was like, she put that there.
I think
So-
oh, sorry, go ahead.
It was like
So
she
you
put
said
that
when the
there.
lady saw her and she said, did she say I feel bad that I
She told Florette that, yeah, Miss Florette, she said, what happened to Brooks?
like with an
You know,
attitude probably? Yeah.
She
Where
was
she at?
expecting this.
She expecting her to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
Uh-huh.
came to my house a few times. Oh, really? Yeah, yeah. She lived right over there. She got her own place. And she went to the way like she gave her a whole spill on me, and she was like, oh. And I put in her file for her to be high risk.
And that's
And I wasn't
something.
even.
And that's
That's
something.
something. That's something about how
She
she is.
recommended that. And
Yeah.
they went with.
But I think the thing that I try to tell people is the unfortunate part of this whole process is there are professionals doing your PSI, your pre-sentencing report, your pre-sentencing and investigation, and judges and guidelines and criteria that they sentence you on. But then there are several sentences within the sentence that happen after that. So after the judge gives you a sentence, then every step along the way, people who have power and control can tack on time, can shorten it, etc. In many cases, they use their power to add on time. And it's
Without a proper
unfortunate that you have all these sentences within the sentence. Like even as I'm leaving the halfway house, the case manager at the halfway house says, hey, just so you know, I'm going to write a good report on you to send to the probation office because this is one of the primary reports that they use to gauge how strict they'll be in your probation process.
Translation, how they treat you.
Yep. And
This is what they're going to look at to determine whether they give you a hard time or trust that you're going to do something and give you an easier time.
Yep.
And I'll go as far as this. Whether they treat you like an inmate or a human.
Yep. And even to that point, whether the 3 years will become 5 years or the 5 years will become 1 year based off of their perception of you in the glass that they're looking at you from, the glasses that they're looking at you.
What color is it? Whether they rose colored or not.
Yep.
And I see we have a Miss Burks Gray on here. Yes, and I would like to ask you to unmute and tell us what you think about our conversation so far. Miss Tabitha.
Hi. I am very intrigued about how there are other people out there besides me that think like you all do.
That's why we do this, believe it or not. And Miss Tabitha, let me
Wow.
tell you this. This is my crazy thought when I first started this. There's somebody in Iowa who don't have a support group. And that's why I put these on YouTube. Because I'm thinking about somebody who don't have.
She in
But anyway, go ahead.
that's where she at?
Where are you?
I'm in Alabama.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I've
so
been
glad
home.
that
I've
you
been home
joined
a
us.
year. Yeah, I've been home a year and a half now. After serving 24 years in the feds.
Welcome home.
Congratulations, being
Thank you.
Welcome home. You I think you came on a little bit after we talked about the first part of it, but I was raising the issue of people, particularly who have done a long time, the fear coming through the gates, leaving the prison because they have never been the person that they want to be on the other side of the wall after having served their time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That stigma is still kind of on us, just as you all was saying, that people only see you as the person that was your number or the crime that brought you to that place, but they don't realize that through that process, we become completely different people.
Yes.
Completely different. Yeah.
And certainly the mindset changes. And then, but then
Absolutely.
there's also the parts of you that will remain the same. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
right? Different things
Mm-hmm.
your parents instilled in you, your family circumstance, whatever that is. Some of those
Right.
things stay, right? If you're a kind person, I will say like this. I know a lot of felons. I know a lot of
Mm-hmm.
criminals, a lot of gangsters, a lot of hustlers. And there are some people that even in doing wrong did it a particularly right way. They had integrity
Right.
even in their wrongdoing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
those people, when they come on the other side, they still have that integrity. They how they
Yes.
did their time. They did it with integrity.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know.
I'm
So
truly
this is
enjoying this
wonderful. I'm
discussion.
so glad you joined us.
Thank you. I'm working, and Cheryl just sent me a link, and she was like, "Jump on if you can." So I'm working and driving, and got my little camera up on my little phone thing that's stuck in the windshield and glued in, and still trying to pay
Well,
attention to what I'm supposed to be doing.
well, we are here every Tuesday evening, and we thank you for joining us, and we would love to have you anytime that you're free to do so.
Thank
And
you.
Miss Monica, are you there, my love?
Yes. Sorry about earlier.
Hi.
Sorry about I was driving earlier and I couldn't unmute you and I didn't want to crash. So
No, we don't. No, we don't want you to crash. No, that's a good thing.
hi everyone. It was a great meeting as always. Very insightful. Very
Love you.
insightful.
I gotta come see you soon, okay, babe?
That's whenever you want, you let me know. I got the
Will be
lobster
good.
right next door.
Okay.
You got a what next door?
She lives next door to Lobster Alley.
Any final comments in the room?
I think we need some sage.
We need
Yeah.
we need to
That's for the
sage
peanut
the room.
gallery. That's for the
We
peanut gallery.
do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some sage.
Yes, ma'am.
I was gonna give Tanya a hug. Can I give you a hug?
No.
Wait
no,
till after, wait till after.
Oh,
Ooh,
okay.
Anybody else?
Cuss y'all out.
I wanted to say something about the PSI before I wanted to mention it, but you guys don't get do you guys get PSI?
What's that?
The
Pre-sentencing,
pre-sentencing.
that's a federal thing. But the pre-sentencing thing, if they'll go to your family, they'll go. I was told my second trial, they told me don't say anything to them because they take everything that you say and they'll twist it and stuff. And the PSI becomes your Bible. You have to go to court to get anything that's in it changed.
They do it in the States. It's before you got sentenced in court. There is somebody that does a report on you, and that judge, when he's looking through your file and looking to sentence you, that pre-sentencing
Oh,
report
yeah,
is a
they do
thing.
that.
Yeah,
They
that
do.
I think
pre-sentencing.
it's based off of the
Yeah.
number of crimes
Mhm.
and what type
Might
of
just have a
crimes,
different
what
title.
age,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know.
Definitely a different time.
Yeah, but I know, I remember hearing about it in court with somebody in a state court. So that's the only way I know for sure that they do. And like you say, it may have a different name, but the function is the same.
Pretty much saying like if you the second termer,
All of those things, all of those factors,
They put
like
in family, outside family stuff too, though.
yeah,
No.
They do go, they do supposed to
Yeah.
visit your family, ask questions, things like that, when you working, what kind of person you are, that kind of stuff. They do that.
and that's where your life does matter, like where whether you're employed, like those simple things that do matter as to what goes into that report. So
But if it's not true, it's held against you and stuff. And in her case, there were things that weren't true, right? But they hold you accountable for the things that people write about you, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's not right.
But I
It's
think
not
that's a
right.
conspiracy.
It is.
It's their conspiracy.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a
And the
conspiracy.
fact that she was just my counselor and she only got that little bit,
Yeah,
they only give you that little bit of the case. They don't give you a whole C file,
Uh-huh.
a whole
right.
file coming from. So yeah,
Right.
you just see what you.
You make out of that what you want to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
you can
Talk to me
interpret it
about
however you
We
want.
just had long stories and
Yeah,
things.
but I think what the scary thing that's a part of the PSI report is giving a metric or a probability score based off of all of your history. And so they use all of these components and say, hey, what's the likelihood of you offending ever again? So if you've had several crimes, if you started early, the types of crimes, what type of support system, what
You
type
don't
of
have a job.
education,
Yeah.
what type
Well,
of job.
Parole plans.
But they use all of these
Parole plan.
components to create like this formulaic output
Mhm.
that dictates what the projection will look like in terms of the probability of you reoffending. And in many cases, people use those things to be the prognosticator for
Yeah, 'cause they
future
said
being.
Deion wasn't on his job long enough.
And so, but to
The
that point,
question was,
like,
did he have a job? Yes. Oh, but now he wasn't on there long enough.
Right.
so like,
Yeah, it's a
so
moving
to that point, like, we fought a lot just to get that PSR report correct, to make sure it was omitted appropriately, because it is somewhat of a Bible.
And you know what? And you're right. So that would
That's
be
our that's
parole
what she did to
plan,
me
right.
at the parole thing.
Exactly.
That's what it made me think.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
That's our parole.
Because if you don't, if the when the PSI comes,
Oh,
if you're being sentenced and you don't fight it in front of the judge, you have
You
to
never
file
can.
motions. You have to file motions to get back in court. So when I was in Victorville and I went to the SHU, but I went to San Bernardino County Jail. That's when I had been 13 years. My friend had been 17, and we were there. So they told us to start going in the kitchen at night with the girls who were there, because we were the workers. And when the girls told me, I said, so you got your PSI. Did you read it? No, the attorney told me when we get in front of the judge, and he asked me, say, yeah. I said, but you can't do that. Have your family fire him and get you another attorney. You have to
Immediately.
read the PSI before you get sentenced, because that stuff in there is detrimental to you.
Let me tell you what they started doing in state courts. Adding sexual offense charges, so that, and making people report as sexual predators, and register. And they started doing that. I know more than one person that they added it on, they tacked it on as a condition of parole after they have been down 20 some years. Never was that ever part of their charge. But if you want to get out, you sign and agree to this, and we'll let you out tomorrow. And I know at least 2 people that happened to.
Yeah, so
So that's the sentence inside the sentence.
So they do call it, I just did looked on ChatGPT, they do call it a pre-sentence report, which eventually becomes your probation report.
Okay. So it's the same thing, and they just keep adding to it, I guess. It carries over. Like I said, I did know that I saw them talk about it, and anyway. So again, I think this has been a wonderful conversation tonight. I thank you guys for being here. Like I tell you guys, I really learn a lot. I get a lot out of every one of these groups, and I thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for having me.
He wasn't ready for you yet. Go ahead, Bellarine.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
I love you guys. See you
Love
guys.
you too.
Mary,
YouTube, Instagram, Facebook.
Yes,
I
you
got
can catch us on Instagram, our Facebook, our YouTube channel, Instagram, and Facebook. Okay.
And you can watch the former episodes.
Yes, please watch
All
as
the
many
time.
episodes. Comment if there's a topic you want us to talk about. Let us know.
On YouTube, we're
YouTube at Free to Heal LA.
Right
Free
behind
number
you.
2 Heal LA.
Right behind
if
you.
you don't know
Okay.
it,